And it's been a delight to hear the testimony by our witnesses today. I have the most familiarity with Dr. Collins. Senator Harkin and I worked together on the Labor H subcommittee appropriation process, but I would welcome any of you other witnesses and your agencies to visit with me, to visit with my staff, and if there's ways that we can be helpful or attain a better understanding of ways that we can enhance research, science and its application to our country and its economy, to our country and its people, I'd be very interested in working with you to accomplish that. We face tremendous challenges in the appropriations process, but I'm convinced that regardless of your attitude about spending money, this is a place that investment really does matter. And as I've said in front of Dr. Collins and others in our hearings, that you can be the most compassionate, caring person, and you should be for research, and you can be the most conservative and most desirous of efficiencies and effectiveness, and you should be for research. Senator Coons and I, Senator Blunt and others have introduced legislation to try to create an innovative economy, jumpstart the economy, create more startups, innovation, entrepreneurship, and clearly I see these issues related. If we can get research ongoing in our country that is then applicable to the business community in which those ideas can be commercialized, our economy will grow. The challenges we face as a committee in having enough money to appropriate, so many things can be solved if we only had a growing economy. And what transpires here in the agencies and departments that you're involved in, I think, have a huge consequence to whether or not we will have a growing economy today and in the future. A couple of questions that I would like to ask. Dr. Collins, you were in front of our subcommittee not too long ago, and I wanted to follow up with a topic about NIH funding. I'm still trying to figure out what role Congress should play. You and others over the years, as I understand it, have admonished us not to be disease-specific in our instructions to you as to where to conduct research. Let the science take us where we ought to go. And yet I know that there are diseases out there that have huge consequences in cost, in deterioration of the quality of life of individuals. And I'm still trying to figure out, and maybe DARPA or NSF have similar kinds of issues. When you decide about particular research, what is the criteria what's the list of things that make a determination? Do you take cost into account, prevalence of the disease or the affliction? What about the chance of success, how likely research is going to result in a desirable outcome? I assume that as you allocate the funding that we provide, there is a longer set of criteria than the handful of things I've been able to think of sitting here while still listening to your testimony, trying to come up with a list of what might be the things you would consider.
Well, thank you, Senator. And you've thought a lot about this, and you've already enumerated some of the things that we consider every day at NIH in trying to figure out how to make the best use of the taxpayers' dollars. Certainly, burden of disease is a big motivator. We want to make sure that we're paying attention to those disorders that are causing the greatest amount of human suffering and cost to the economy and stresses on family caregivers and all the rest. One of the reasons why Alzheimer's arises so high on the list for those things. But scientific opportunity has to be a big part of this mix as well. Simply deciding we're going to throw money at something where there aren't any really credible ideas about where to go. It may not be a wise idea there. We may want to try some pilot efforts, but not a big crash program until you're really sure you have some useful way to proceed. I do worry, though, if we focus ourselves unduly on such things as prevalence and costs, that rare diseases would tend to get lost in the shuffle. As you well know, because of wonderful work being done in Kansas on rare causes of cancer, sometimes by studying the rare causes, you make a discovery that has much broader implications across the board, and we've seen that happen over and over again. So we do want to be sure that rare diseases, which often present us with unique scientific opportunities, also get their chance. Frankly, it is a constant struggle to do this right. One of the good things about this is we don't have to do it in a top-down fashion. Our real brain trust out there in all 50 states and some outside the country is coming forward every day with their ideas, putting forward those in front of us. We subject that to rigorous peer review, and we fund the things that are the greatest promise, which is an antidote against, I think, being too top-down and heavy-handed in terms of how we decide things. And then, of course, basic science, a critical part of what we do, what everybody at the table does, where you want to be sure that that foundational information, which may not be attached to any specific disease, is being vigorously pursued, because that is the future. That's where we're going to make the discoveries today that will have a big impact on cancer and Alzheimer's disease tomorrow. It's a complicated calculus. I can't answer it in less than about 3 days in terms of how this plays out in practice, but I hope that gives some idea of what the factors are.
Well, Doctor, thank you very much. It gives me more to think about before I have the chance to ask you this question again.
Maybe I'll answer it better.
And if I could just very quickly ask for the help of Director Holdren. Director, the National Agro-Bioscience Research Facility has been partially funded, is to be built in Manhattan, Kansas. This is a Department of Agriculture, Department of Homeland Security effort. The Congress has appropriated money approved in the last session, and in addition to that, the President's budget request has $300 million that I'm hopeful we'll be able to appropriate this time. My request for your help is this. We believe, I believe, and others, in fact, there's $200+ million of Kansas money ready to be put into this project, but what we need is the contract to be entered into, and we have a discussion between OMB and the Department of Homeland Security as to whether or not, in the absence of full funding, this project, a contract can be entered into. And it seems to me that Homeland Security says because of OMB we can't do that, or because of some OMB policy, and OMB tells us that we believe Homeland Security has the authority. In fact, the appropriation bill that was passed this past session talks about incremental funding. We're only $300 million from being concluded, but the timeline for which construction is to begin is May 2014. That's next month. Delay only costs us more money and precludes the State from putting its resources into the project. And I need somebody within that realm of your capabilities to bring OMB and Homeland Security together.
Well, thank you. I was not familiar with the details of this contract discussion that's been going on, but since you've brought it up, I will be certain to look into it and to see if we can help bring the parties together, because certainly in my office, we join you in being interested in seeing this get done. So I will see what I can figure out, and I will get back to you.
I appreciate that very much. The Administration has been very helpful in this regard. If we can just get over whether or not a contract can be entered into and construction can start now. Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chairman.